theme for Halloween 2020 was Curse of the Lorax, a sort of ecological revenge story of anthropomorphically altered angry trees after the Lorax manipulated the genetic material of the last Truffula seeds. One of the prop elements I made was a barrel of overflowing toxic Gluppity Glup. The making of this prop is the focus of this first video documenting my 2020 Halloween setup. But first, a quick overview of the whole display. I planned to have a triggered, projection-mapped animated scene as the primary element in the setup, but I hit a few snags and delays along the way. Like overkill on the construction of my projector housing definitely put me behind schedule, and I fumbled on a few silly things like inconsistencies in creating my mappings. I'll cover both of those in coming videos, but for 2020's Curse of the Lorax, even though I ran out of time to create a truly mapped projection, I did quickly create a projected scene. It just ended up not being actually mapped to the details of the side of the garage. So how last minute was that animation completed? Check out when the file was last saved before rendering. No wonder I was still putting stuff out well past sundown. Anyway, I'll add that animation at the end of this video. But now, here's how I created the toxic glowing barrel of Gluppity Glup. Since I need to use this burn barrel a few times each year to burn off accumulated twigs and branches, I wanted the Gluppity Glup to be removable. I mean, I could see the once profiting by selling the toxic ooze for $1 per cup, but I surely don't want to burn the stuff myself, so I started by creating a removable cardboard base. Alright, good. The concept looks doable.
Halloween comes, boundaries they go, doors start to open and spirits do flow. Loved ones now gone, call out once again, in hopes that you'll feel what they know. Peer out into the abyss, temper your fear, however unclear. Know that what you know is amiss, no matter how sure, there's always much more. Lessons are offered for those who can hear beyond the sound of their natural fear. There's more to be seen than what meets the eye on everyday life. On Halloween, the magic appears twixt costumes and fears, and for those who can see that reality shift and planes of existence commingle and mix, Halloween's not such a source of great fright, but a once yearly gift on a most sacred night.
The controller and battery packs for the two string lights simply hang on the inside of the barrel. They hang far enough inside so once the prop is completed, they shouldn't be seen, but not so far that they're hard to access. Now I better hurry up and finish this prop before the Lorax loses his patience. Alright, two string lights attached, that looks good. Unfortunately though, I forgot to record myself applying the Gluppity Glup onto this prop. It's just expanding spray foam from a can, so it looks very similar to when I applied the same material to a spooky tree prop also made from cardboard. The only difference is the general pattern I used when spraying. For the tree, I generally applied it in more of a line pattern to get a sort of gnarly bark kind of look. For the Gluppity Glup, I sprayed far more randomly in order to get a more oozing, overflowing, swampy, toxic, bubbling waste sort of look. The way this stuff sprays and expands, it's hard to get great precision in applying it, and it will pretty much always end up with uneven and unpredictable expansion as it cures, but the general patterns in which you spray can help create somewhat different general effects, and with these two props side by side, hopefully you can see some difference. As I'm trimming off the excess cardboard base, you can see that the foam does stick to cardboard quite well, but note that it also sticks to almost any material, especially skin, so if you use expanding foam on a prop, be sure to wear disposable gloves. Until cured, any skin contact with the stuff may very well last for weeks. Now at this point, I don't really know how the cured foam will hold up to spray paint. I especially want to test this since in creating my first foam tombstone, I learned that spray paint will eat away certain types of foam. I'll cover that better in a coming video about creating and setting up my tombstones, but I imagine from these shots you can probably tell just exactly which tombstone I'm talking about. Personally, I think the effect was actually a big improvement for that particular tombstone. But for the Gluppity Glup, I don't really want this effect, so right now I'm simply testing a small area. This way, if the spray paint does damage the foam, I will only have to repair a small section. Nice, no spray paint damage. So now I'll finish cutting away what cardboard can still be seen around the edges of the cured Gluppity Glup. I've greatly sped up the process here, but I can only wonder what my neighbors imagined each time they drove by in real time. Some did, however, already know about the planned Curse of the Lorax theme. The support is appreciated. Now, once I finish trimming away any still exposed cardboard, it's time to test how well the prop can be removed and then put back in place. You may notice that the burn barrel is gloriously decayed and deformed. It's not a perfect circle, so when the Gluppity Glup is removed and then put back in the barrel, it will only fit one way. Now, this may not be the best idea, but what I'm going to do now is not completely mask the burn barrel before spray painting the Gluppity Glup. Instead, I'll leave just a little edge around the hanging Gluppity Glup sections in order to leave a slight outline of paint on the barrel itself to mark exactly how the prop sits on the barrel. I figure this will make it a little easier to properly line it back up each time I want to reuse this prop. It's probably not really needed, but hey, it's the next decision to be made in the journey of making this prop, and I made a decision.
Halloween comes with such choices at hand.
Besides, I figure this old burn barrel has enough battle scars that small outlines of green paint won't detract from its beauty during the rest of the year. Of course, I probably could have made far less obvious markings on the barrel, but in this case, I'm quite fine with the outline of the green paint here. If you are making your own similar prop, however, such a decision is up to you. Now, as I finish spray painting the Gluppity Glup a nice shade of toxic waste green, I should point out that the goal here is to wind up with a nice, brightly glowing green toxic prop that really stands out in the dark. Originally, what I thought I would need was glow-in-the-dark paint, but I was very, very wrong. Essentially, glow-in-the-dark paints absorb light, and then in the dark, they slowly give off some of that light, but only for a short period, and not nearly as brightly as the other, far better option for this purpose. Glow-in-the-dark paints have their use, but it's definitely not for this prop, which needs to really pop with a bright glow in the dark. So what does work really well? Blacklight. Blacklight shining on fluorescent paint. And in the daylight, with no blacklight, fluorescent paint will still pop out a nice, bright neon look. And here's the prop on Halloween night.
Look at that green
After Halloween, I really put this prop to the durability test. I'll cover that in a coming video where you can see how well it held up to a few days of sustained wind and rain. You can see what improvements, alterations, and yes, even repairs I made once finally letting this poor prop back inside. I'll also cover what I would likely do differently if I were to build this prop again from scratch. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and do the subscribe-y thingy. Not only is a follow-up to this Gluppity Glup prop coming, so are a handful of videos on other elements in my Curse of the Lorax display. Even better, I try to outdo myself each year, and I will keep posting updates on all my Halloween builds. So far for Halloween 2021, nothing is set in stone just yet, or even set in paper mache or carved foam for that matter, But at the moment, the idea that has the most traction inside my noggin is a mutant plant from Mars theme. I also have a handful of ideas for tying in multiple props to a projection-mapped animation for this theme, and possibly using some synced animatronics. Just how many of these ideas I can actually bring to life between now and Halloween, of course, remains to be seen, but pretty much all of them will add to my Halloween displays sooner or later. What ideas may now seem out of reach or overwhelmingly complex will eventually become very doable. You can't master an idea if you never start working on it, so at some point, you just have to start, even when you know you have a lot of learning to do. There will be failures along the way, but every failure should teach you something. So I'll leave you with this principle for any creative endeavor. Spark an idea, then do something with it. Keep tweaking it. Sooner or later, you'll build something cool. Until then, you'll learn a lot. See you soon, but for now, as promised, here's the animation I did manage to project on the side of the garage for my Curse of the Lorax Halloween display.
The words of the Lorax mankind did not heed, so he altered the structure of that last truffula seed, biogenetically re-engineering the truffula trees into something worth feeding. Now proceed, dear guests, to the treats and the snacks, but beware of the trees and the curse of the Lorax.
Ha 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 ha!